We are back with another episode of Middle Age Mamas. The gang is here. Camila, Dawn, Nakia, back for another episode. So this week I was thinking, driving in my car as I do all of my pondering, about pet peeves. Because they come and they go. And I feel like, we don't want to turn into crotchety old ladies, but pet peeves are forever present.
Yes.
So, what are some pet peeves that you guys find
Pet
yourself?
peeves are usually like just small things, though, right?
I mean, they can be, but sometimes it can be super nitpicky. Like, for instance, and I feel like a total old lady, but when I'm in a restaurant and I see little itty bitty 1 and 2 year olds on iPads, it just drives me insane. Because I know it's none of my business, but I just feel like it's ruining our society. And
What do you think they should be doing at 2 and 3 years old?
sitting
Just
at the table, learning how to read the room, learning what's appropriate, engaging in their parents, coloring, all of those things still work.
Well,
Books.
I think at that point, if you're in a restaurant and you're a child,
Mm-hmm.
or you're a parent with a small child, and you're in a restaurant, letting your child do those things is to keep the kid from shouting and yelling, because that's just what you've been doing.
Yeah, but they can never learn not to do it if that's all they know. And if they don't have an iPad, then they're going to just run amok.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
they have it.
Right, exactly. So to me, number one, that's lazy.
It's also just a certain type of parent.
It's very
certain type of
consistent
parent.
now.
Parenting.
Yeah, but it's
Certain
very
type of
consistent now because it's okay. It's the norm. So you feel like, nobody's going to say anything because everybody does it. But it's
Right.
to the detriment of children because they don't learn how to sit still. They don't know how to do it if they have to be stimulated with a cartoon at 10 max volume, disrupting everybody else.
I mean, when I see that, I don't necessarily see them like being loud with it.
No,
but
yeah,
it's
that's not
definitely
even the
keeping
problem.
Their attention so that the parents at the table can,
Yeah.
eat and do what they're gonna do
Yeah, it's the volume's not even the problem. I even
Right.
am annoyed when they have the headphones
uninterrupted.
because it's like the kid is on an island while the parents can have a chance to engage. And I get that, you need that, but you can get a babysitter if you just want to be by yourself. Or you can teach your kids how to sit there and color or
Right.
bring stickers, books. There's so many things that still work, but people are just too lazy to grab an extra bag of stuff to entertain their kids. And
When
that,
Dean was little, I did have a cell phone then. He did just like sit there and color, or I would
Yeah.
entertain him and talk to him.
yeah,
And
I mean, it
teach
is
them how to
harder. I agree. It's 100% harder
Sit there and
to
talk.
do, and those things are so easy to just grab. But even like when kids are in a stroller and the mom is taking a walk and throwing the iPad in the stroller, I'm like, let them look at the trees, let them look at the dump trucks, let them look at the birds. You're robbing kids of those opportunities because you feel like it's just easier.
Because it's a different type of stimulation.
It is.
The scenery and the environment versus
Fast paced.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different type
And
of
there is,
stimulation.
a time and a place for that. I get it.
Right.
There's a lot of appropriate shows for kids to watch, but it's just not every day, all day for every situation that you need to have stimulation. Otherwise, you're gonna run amok.
Yeah.
And I don't pay attention so much. I see it happening. I see not only kids with iPads and phones, but I see couples out on their phones, like on a date, and both of them are on their phones. Like, why aren't you guys talking? Like,
But that's different to me because they're an adult and they've had a chance to grow up.
Certainly, no, I'm not.
You
I'm
still
not.
haven't had a chance to grow
Right,
up.
I'm not
Right,
talking
because the
about
kids that don't get the opportunity to be normal, they will never know what it's like.
right. But I'm
They're
just
not
saying I just don't pay attention to that when I'm looking at the kids. What I look at and what bothers me, I have a very long list of pet peeves, but what bothers me is when the kid is going crazy in the restaurant. And especially if I'm not there with my kids and I'm there like on a date and you got your badass kid sitting right next to me,
Like, boo.
doing whatever. Like I wasn't even somewhere really nice, but Martin and I think we were probably like at Denny's or whatever. And Martin and I were out. It was when we were visiting the grandparents, so we were in this small little farm town, and we were in Denny's trying to get away. We were all there as a family, and we took some time to have a little date. There was this family in there, like the kid was standing on the back of the booth seat,
acting a fool.
reaching over, like tapping the person, like
That's
cute.
the parent.
That's
the
not
parent.
cute. Like that that is a pet peeve of mine. Like in that case, like give them a phone.
Get your kid.
Or get your kid.
Or get your kid. And so that's the issue. And I know there were times, there had to have been 100 times when I was out with my kids.
Yeah.
And they weren't on electronics.
Right.
And they were behaving in a way that was probably annoying, but I was on it. But then there was also stuff that they would do that I thought was so cute. Like there was a time.
Hi.
But not even like there was a time when Landon was a toddler and a Michael Jackson song came on and he like got up in the middle of the restaurant and started dancing like right at the and I thought it was so cute.
Michael Jackson.
I
would mind
crazy.
that.
He was crazy about Michael Jackson. So there's certain there are things that I know when my kids were little, I would think like, oh, this is cute. But now that my kids are older, I'm like, mm-mm. Or if I would see it happen, I would look at my kids and say, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Don't if my kids are seeing
ideas.
other kids misbehaving, I look at them like, I wish you would.
Yeah. I used to give them speeches before we would arrive somewhere. I don't care whoever else is doing it, you better not do it. What's your last name? Looper?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Act right. I never had to go through that with Dean. I never had to like give him the speech like you better get in there and act right. The only time that Dean kind of like it really wasn't even getting out of hand, but we went to the Cheesecake Factory. It was me, actually his dad, and him. And we went up to, the little bistro area where you can sit like right outside of the bar. Yeah. And we were sitting up there eating. And for some reason, it was like a gang of kids there. And the Laker game was on. And I don't know what Dean did. But, he's kind of the life of the party type kid anyways. Yes. But he started getting in the middle of these kids. I don't know what he said and what he did.
It could have been anything
all of
and
a
everything.
sudden, the kid was like, Dean.
Right.
Dean. I was like, number one, how do these kids know his name? And then what is he doing? Dean. And then all of a sudden, it was like, yeah. And everybody in the whole area was just like looking over there, like clapping it. Me and his dad was just like, oh my God.
He's named so perfectly because everywhere he goes, people know his name. We'd be on vacation in Hawaii. There'll be kids coming up to us. Is Dean here?
Just randomly.
He needs the perfect one.
One
syllable
name.
D.
Yeah. But, him acting bad, though, I never really had to deal with him, like, falling out or anything like that. He was... As a baby, he was a perfect baby. He didn't start getting buck until 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, he hasn't had 12 yet, but 9, 10, 11.
He saved it before he piled it all up.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that's funny. What about you, Camila? Because I have a long list.
We'll go back to your pet peeve.
Oh my gosh.
What's your pet peeve?
I do have some things that I don't like. I don't like when people bring their dogs into the grocery store. I don't like when they bring their dogs into restaurants. They did that the other night when I was out. I don't like that. I don't even care if it's just sitting there. Minding his own
Food
business.
and dogs don't
Do not bring your hairy dog
right
into the restaurant where his hair can, fly all around or potentially like bark, or whatever is going on. I just don't like to see no dog. I don't even like my own dog near my food.
Speaking of that, how is Mac doing? How's it going? Is he still here?
He is still around.
You haven't gotten rid of him.
Yeah, no, I have not.
Well, he
knows how to sit. He knows how to. I'm working on stay. He knows place, how to sit on his bed.
That's great.
He's doing very well. He's doing very well.
Good.
He still has like puppy brain, so he still kind of like bites and nips because he's teething.
Right. But you're working with someone to get you through those humps.
Yeah, but also it's just something that he just has to go through because he's a puppy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but other than that, he's doing really well. We paid for him to go to a trainer. She does very well. I can't remember the name of her company, but I will shout her out, and because she's great. She's like the dog whisperer.
Oh, good.
For Inglewood residents.
Yay!
So she does very well. Her name is Kayla Noel, and I think her company is Lifeline K9.
Oh, that's a good
Oh,
one.
cute.
Yeah.
So if you need a dog trainer.
She specializes in Cane Corsos, but she does all kind of dogs. She's a cute young girl, and she's nice. Yeah, she does a good job.
Excellent. Okay, John, we ready for your long list? Number 1.
Mispronouncing my name.
I understand that.
Okay,
I understand that.
so it's not just about mispronouncing my name. So the other day I was in Starbucks, and you give the person your
I don't
name.
even tell them my name.
I shortened my name. I'm Kia.
I can only imagine. Like, you guys have multiple syllables. I'm just one syllable. Like, come on. So
that's what they be doing.
So I said, they're like, what's your name? I said, Dawn. I say it much longer because I want them to get it. I want them to know.
But you would think if you see a female saying Dawn, you would write DAWN.
No.
You wrote DON?
DON.
Just, because they're rushing and they're just trying to do it and get it
But
over
that's
with.
a male. I don't know
But
any
see, and that's
woman named DON.
Right. But that's what people do. And so sometimes, depending on if I'm petty or not in the moment, how I'm feeling, I feel the need to educate people.
You tell them.
I may never see this person again. I don't know why I feel the need to say, just so you know, in the future, this is a man.
I think that's important, though.
I will.
Because that's crazy to write DON for a woman.
I will, but it happens.
They either don't know or they're rushing.
No, they don't.
Some people don't know.
No, it just
like
happens.
Sean and Sean, SEAN, SHAWN. People don't know.
But that's still different. But that's still pronounced the same. Sean is Sean, no matter how you spell it, it's still pronounced the same.
But looking, I can't say that because Jay-Z's name is Sean, SHAWN.
Yeah, it's still pronounced the same. Dawn and Don, completely different.
Yeah.
And so that's one. But not only am I concerned about my name, I just don't like when people mispronounce any words.
Any words. You must cringe
The
all
other
the time.
day I was trying to say desensitization.
Oh, God.
And I said it just now, but this was at the 100 Black Men thing for my son, and I was like, this is it. And they was looking at me like, what are you trying to say?
That's
I said, never mind.
I'm not talking about tongue twisters. Like, I know people.
like if someone says Pacific.
Definitely.
You mean Pacific Ocean? Or
definitely.
To be Pacific.
That's one of them. Definitely. Yes. But things, because I feel like.
Where's your pearls? You need to share the pearls for this episode. You reaching for it, they're not there.
Like, see, this is how I lose friendships. Okay. This is how we talked about friendships in another episode. These are the types of things that I do.
Because you correct people?
So.
Girl, I love it, though. I love it. You never gonna lose me because I be loving it.
No.
You hear me? I be loving it.
This is what I do. There are some people that, I have different categories.
Mm-hmm.
I have a category of you should know better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's one.
Are friends in these categories?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You should know better.
So interesting.
Okay. And then I have another category of this is a teachable moment.
Okay.
Okay.
There are so many layers to you. There are so many layers.
So you should
Wait
know
a minute.
better.
What kind of person is in the you should know better category?
Probably me.
Educated people?
Yes.
Me not.
I don't care if you're educated or not. Some of these things you should have learned in elementary school.
Okay, well, get to it.
So you should know better, and I'm just not going to be your friend anymore.
Are you kidding?
Wait a minute.
Oh,
I'm not.
Tough.
I'm not kidding.
Damn.
Because I'm not even going to listen. I have been in, and I'm going to get
You
back.
just tune people out when they say.
Oh, yeah.
Are they making dumb comments? Or
Let her get it out.
Words differently?
They're just pronouncing words improperly.
What is it?
Dang.
I'm gonna tell you some of them.
She might not like me now
Tell
because
me.
I'll be saying all kinds of stuff on this podcast.
I
have been in.
Wait, Camila called
Havarti.
Havarti cheese Haverty.
See,
You got some of that Haverty cheese?
I'm not talking about stuff like that. I'm not talking about things that.
I'm still gonna go with y'all.
I'm not talking about something that
Mispronunciation.
you're not familiar with.
Yeah, because I didn't know.
We're on Pizzaditos. Give it to
I'm
us.
not talking about a new word
I didn't know.
like
Haverty.
Haverty or Gouda or whomever.
Havarti.
I'm not talking about stuff like that. I'm talking about liked it,
Oh, I mean,
Oh.
looked it,
who's doing that?
grown
At
people.
your grown age doing that?
Grown people.
What about, did you
by
have a bunch of
mistake.
people saying Happy New Year's?
Ooh, New Year's, Valentine's.
My-
Or times.
What's that?
Exactly.
Valentine's. Oh.
Valentine's.
Yeah.
Valentine's. Yeah,
Times. The
But
times.
it's the S on the end though too.
But it is supposed to be Valentine's Day.
I thought it was Valentine's Day.
It's not Valentine's Day, my dear.
You about to be
Does
S
that, does that even sound right to
Valentine's
you?
Day. Oh no, it
It's
doesn't.
not. It's not. Okay.
It's
No.
about to be X'd out.
These are that's
Valentine's.
liked it, looked it. Here's another one. This is a big one. And this one I cringe. Library. Library. Why?
Like BERRY.
Right. Why?
Library.
Those or worser. I know.
Who says that?
I know
Come
a
on,
doctor-
In
Don.
jest, you can say
No.
it worse.
No, it's not in jest. That's what they think it is. For real. There are real people walking around in the streets.
Let's say worse.
These are educated
That's funny.
folks. Or
Now, do you
people-
correct them in the
Oh,
moment?
I told you that there are certain no. If you saying liked it and looked it, how,
Liked it and
how
looked
am
it.
I gonna say
She liked it and looked it.
actually?
Liked it and looked it.
Because
That's
it looked
so
it
funny.
like.
It looked it like.
I'm not about to.
Oh, I can see it right
sounds
there.
right.
It looked it like.
No, I'm not about to give a lesson on prefixes and suffixes and what gives it another syllable and what continues to be one syllable, even if you add a suffix. You don't need to add another syllable. These are lessons that you should have learned as a child. Somebody in your home should have said to you, because this is a problem.
About correcting.
If your mama is letting you say
Yeah.
looked it, your mama say
But
looked
she's
it too.
probably saying it too.
Your mama
yeah,
saying looked
for
it.
sure.
Your mama saying looked it too. Nobody in the house is going to say that's not the proper way.
So
These are lessons. So this is I'm okay. So those are not teachable moments. Those are you're ignorant and I'm not going to be your
really
friend.
quickly, when
Okay.
my son was little and he would say stuff like that, looked it, or
Right.
you know, like really
Yeah.
like
Yeah, no.
butcher the words when he was little and he didn't know better.
Mhm.
And I thought it was funny, and a couple of times I didn't correct him, but afterwards I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is the way that you are supposed to
Right.
say it like
Yeah.
this.
Oh yeah, no. We laugh and we correct. The teachable moments, and this was Martin's relative. See, maybe this was another time. I'm imagining things probably built up that a la mode situation with the peach cobbler that I spoke about before when I lost a friendship. So the teachable moment for her and I indulged her. I let her know that's not the proper way. So trifle and truffle. Okay.
Okay.
She was making a dish. She was making the dessert.
But that's an easy miss stuff.
Absolutely. That's why I said this is.
She called it a trifle?
This is
Instead
a
of a
teachable
truffle.
moment. No. She called it a truffle when she was making a trifle. The trifle is the dessert.
What is a trifle?
Okay, so here we go. This is what I'm
I
saying.
thought you were talking
This
about
is-
truffles.
I'm not talking about truffles. This is a teachable moment, and it's okay. I will still be your friend.
You better be.
The trifle is that dessert where you get like that sponge cake, you cut it up, you put it in a clear dish, you put a layer of cake.
It's a certain
then
type of dessert.
It's a dessert. and then you
dessert.
put,
DESSERT.
It's a dessert. You put like some Cool Whip or something in there, and then you put some fruit, and you put some more cake. That is a trifle.
Okay, see, I've never had that.
Yes, it's rather delicious. So when she made that mistake, I said, and this wasn't like at a dinner party.
That's what she was making? She was making
the trifle, yes.
She called it a truffle.
But she called it a truffle, and not by mistake. She was actually calling it a truffle. And I said, no, this is actually a trifle.
And what did she say when you said
She was like, oh, okay, thank you. But see, she could have been like checking off a list like, that bitch got me again.
She got one more time.
She got one more time. So those were the things. That's okay. Those types of mistakes.
Because she didn't know clearly. I didn't know.
That's okay. You might not know. But if she says, I liked it to eat truffles, or that truffle looked it good, then that's it. It's over for you. I can't even take you out in public. I can't even take you. What are you gonna say when we're out with some of my other friends and you walking in talking?
I would just kind of laugh it off and looked it. Okay.
You looked it. He looked it good. For really? Did he? Did he look?
I don't think I really hang around with people that talk like
you
that.
have one.
I do.
Neither do I.
I'm not gonna say any names, but for a good year it was rubbing off.
On me?
And see, that's what happens. That's what? That's what happens.
We were like, Clay was like, wait a minute.
Are you kidding?
That's what happens. You know,
it's gone now.
I don't even know how it set in.
Or
I'm
it
shocked.
will rub off on your children. Like I had a neighbor once.
I'm trying to think. Who is that?
I had a neighbor once whose son or grandson, somebody had issues. He had a lot of ear infections. He had issues with his hearing, so that affected his speech. So she was wanting him to be friends with my son because she's like, oh, he's so articulate, so this, that. She's wanting my son to spend time with her kid so that he can be a good influence on her child. Instead, my son comes home sounding like buckwheat.
I
said, oh no.
It went backwards.
No. I was thinking, you can breathe. You don't have asthma. You don't have any issues with speaking. Why are you coming home sounding like buckwheat? That's not okay.
How old was he?
He was probably 4.
Oh, okay.
He was a little guy. But those are the things, and my mom made a really big deal about it when I was a kid. And at the time, I thought she was nuts. I think everything that my mom did back then, I was like, this woman is crazy. But I appreciate it now, and I understand it. And I don't go to those extremes with my children, but I do still correct them. My daughter does like to, Maya, who's my friend, likes to say things, and I'll say, what is that? No.
And she's a college student.
And that's not the way. And so I feel like there are some incidences where it's lack of exposure. I'm not just calling everybody ignorant. It's lack of exposure, and I get it.
Oh, 100%. Because those people that are speaking like that haven't been exposed.
Absolutely.
And that's where they come from.
Right. And that's why I can't.
But can't you still have a friendship that is
nah.
that's just one-on-one?
Nah.
And you rub it off?
Because I'm a cringe.
Oh,
and it ends up that it doesn't rub off. It ends up that it doesn't.
But what about coworkers and things of that nature?
Oh, no, they're just a coworker.
Right, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. No.
Speaking of that, when I go into restaurants or any type of stores and someone's younger than me, just yesterday, and she was like, "Oh, you can sit over here, hun."
Oh,
that drives
that's another
me
pet peeve.
insane.
I hate it.
I don't like when they call me hun.
I hate it.
Hun, what's the other one?
Oh, sweetie.
Yeah, sweetie, hun.
Yeah.
Come sit over here. I hate that, especially if they're younger than me.
Cashiers, waitresses.
It's a generational thing. All of those 30-something, 20-somethings, they all do that.
I don't know if
I feel like it's a little demeaning. I don't know why.
I hate it. I think it's too familiar.
Oh, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Familiar.
It's too familiar.
She's like, you can sit over here, hun.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not your hun.
Right. I hate it. And I remember once I was with Landon. He was, again, a little guy. and he was in the basket, and I'm at the cashier, and this woman kept calling me babe or hun or some little nickname. And then he said, Mommy, why does she keep saying that? That's not your name. And I said loud as well so that she can hear. I said,
Do you guys, are you correct?
Depending.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I said, yeah, it's very inappropriate, is what I said.
And people, I think today in this environment, want to try to dumb everything down and make it all the same.
They want everything to be bro.
Yeah, but there's levels to everything.
Yeah.
That's
people
a
don't
good point.
recognize.
That's a really good
people
point.
aren't being taught that.
And they're not being taught that.
Yes, I think the etiquette and all of those things that I feel like we were taught,
They don't really do that anymore.
that's not, it's not happening in the same way. So the level of respect that you pay to your elders, and I feel like I'm still that way even in the workplace. And I remember there was a woman who, I don't work with her now, I used to, but she was old enough to be my mother, and I respected her as an elder, but she was very nasty. She was very rude. And so I found myself in an uncomfortable position because I knew I was going to have to check her eventually. And I was just hoping that she would stop, like on her own. I was hoping she would just kind of realize that what she was doing was rude and that she would stop. But she didn't. And I was advised that that's just what she does. And
don't you hate that? You're
yes,
like, that's just who she is.
That's just who she is.
Yeah.
But the next step of the advice that I was given was that you do need to check her in order for her to respect you.
Right.
Because and that was just about her culture.
Yeah.
That if you don't, she's gonna keep
doing it.
She's gonna keep running over you because she's assuming that you're a pushover.
Yeah.
So when I finally checked her, it was totally fine after that.
It's so true.
She's probably a lot nicer too.
Yeah.
And she started asking me things about myself, like, "Oh, where do you live?" And
Yeah,
"Oh,
she
that's right by me."
started to respect
And where
you.
does did your husband as well? And
Yeah.
But prior to that, she didn't. And so I feel like there's so many things that come into play.
Yeah.
And each generation trying to find where they fit in with the next generation.
Yes, that's
or with
big.
the prior generation.
Right.
That's tricky. And so
And respect is just kind of dumbed down too, because that
It
kind of
is.
blends in with it. Because even now, like I don't like some of my friends' mothers, like my bestie. I still call her mother Miss Troy. I call
Yes.
my friend Kiara her mother Miss Johnson. And I still say ma'am. Yes ma'am, yes sir. I don't let just because I'm older now.
right.
Let
call
that get
them
in
by
the
their
way.
first name.
Yeah, call them by their first name, because I just think it's just a sign of respect.
Right.
And just because the times are like that now, I'm still, like you said, old. I don't really want to say old fashioned, but that's just how I was raised. I would never call an older person, someone older than me, by their first name unless they said it was okay or told me to do it. Even my aunties, I still call auntie so and so.
Yeah,
Auntie this,
just
auntie
respect.
that. Yeah, it's just a different level of respect. I think that is kind of lost as time goes on.
Yeah, and it's tricky when you're trying to teach your children to follow the same suit and some of their friends don't do it. But I'm like, I don't care. It's still Miss So-and-so until they say otherwise. And sometimes when they're saying, oh, just call me by my first name, I'm like, oh, well, you can say Mr. and give them the first name.
Yes, that's what I do.
Because it's just, they need to respect.
Yeah.
They need to
And
be
even
taught.
speaking of respect, was it yesterday? Because today's Sunday, yeah. When I took my son to the mentorship orientation, and it's 100 Black men thing, and so one of the things that was going on was like moms, sons, and husbands or dads, whatever, were all in this small room, and so there were the room was crowded. There were some women standing up, some men standing up. And so I knew that the man was going to say this. So I leaned over to my son. I told him to stand up and let somebody else let one of these women sit in the seat. And as soon as I said that, the man said, if there's any women standing up, you young men need to get up and let these ladies sit in the seat. And so I have never done this, but my son looked at me and was like, why do I need to get up? I said, you need to get up and let this lady behind you sit in your seat. He did it. And then, let the lady sit. I told her, you can sit here, and she sat down. But there was a number of moms that didn't make their sons get up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they didn't even think I need to get up to,
I think I've been doing that since they were like 5 or 6 years old, wherever we are, waiting in a line, look around. Does anybody need to see before you sit
opening
down?
the door for people, not just women, but just older people, older
taking care of each other.
It's just a lot of respect has gone,
even to the elderly. So even if it's a man, if he's elderly and looks like he needs
to sit down,
but no, those things I don't see happening often, and also the young people. I know we had talked about profanity. The lack of regard.
Disrespect.
I hear the F-bomb all day long at the high school. Like they don't even switch it up. Like they're not even original. Like they just go straight for it. I'm like, really? You don't know any other curse word? Like that's not like F-bomb, all day. It doesn't matter who's around. It doesn't,
I think it's just the freedom of being at school, being in middle school and high school, and you have more freedom because no one's gonna check you. No one's gonna say anything to you on that playground or the schoolyard, wherever you at. So and your peers are doing the same thing,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So they just let it fly because it's not about respect,
right? When you get around adults or when you're in the classroom, to still keep it going. Whew.
Well, they're not taught.
Right. No. And I wonder, I know this is the case in certain incidences in schools, but even the teachers, even the staff are afraid to say something because there are certain things now that you cannot say that you could have said 20 years ago, but not only, and I'm not referring to profanity, I definitely say something, but even attire. You can't clothes shame, right? And all the shame, body shame, this and that. I'm like, girl, I was looking at this young lady the other day. She came up to me, and she wanted to meet with me about something the next day. And I didn't know. I couldn't remember the child's name. I couldn't think of it. All I wanted to say was, "Baby, will you close up that shirt? Like, what are you?" what you got on and why? Like, it's for one, it's cold. So when she came back, I found a way to address it, and I just said, "You're not cold."
That was the simplest way.
Well, her friend was there, and her friend was like, "Girl," and because she
didn't notice.
Oh, she knew. She was intentionally trying to.
Did she have big boobs or something?
Yeah. And she was intentionally trying to look sexy, and her friend closed up her jacket for her. I was like, girl, but for one, it was cold, but two, you're at school, and we're not at the beach, and so those are the things that we could say before. You can't, you got to be real careful what you say these days to kids because it can turn into something. Yes, turn into something.
Also, talking to kids or saying certain things to kids, even in the classroom. Because, have you seen those videos online that go viral where the kid and the teacher is going back and forth arguing? Like the teacher could have been telling the kid just to sit down, something simple, and the kid goes off, and then it turns into a whole thing, and then they're fighting the teacher. I just think just overall, just a lack of decorum. A lack of at-home morals and teaching, and just overall respect, home training, and all of that. And it's really unfortunate that things are going that way.
Because you can call the parent
and get cussed out by the
parent.
I sent my school for education, not to get preached at.
Right, the parent is going. You'd be like, oh, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I know I get a email from this one teacher about Dean a couple of times a month. And I know it gets on my nerves. It gets on my nerves sometimes, but I have to respect her as a teacher because number one, I don't know what's going on in that classroom. Right. I know my son can't get out of pocket, so I try to like find the medium. I say what I'm gonna say to her respectfully, and then when my son gets home, I talk to him and ask him what the situation is. Most of the time, I know it's the teacher is correct. And that my son, probably needs to stop doing A, B, and C, or whatever he's doing. But I give the teacher the respect to say what she's gonna say and say how she feels and just deal with the situation and make sure that my son knows the rules of the classroom, what he should be doing, what he should not be doing. Yeah. And even if you don't like this person, you don't like her rules, or sometimes it's not fair, she don't let you go to the bathroom. She's not letting you go to the bathroom because in the past, you've just been raising your hand to go out of the classroom because you don't want to be in the classroom. Right. So now that's what you get. You can't go to the bathroom like you normally would want to, but and she may be hard on you not being able to go, but that's your fault. You have to walk it back, do things over, and then maybe next time you'll be able to go to the restroom. But for the most part, I do take the teacher what she says and try to respect how she feels and the rules that she's trying to implement in the classroom, and just try to make sure my son is adhering to what she says and how she wants her classroom to be run. So that's it.
Well, all the years that I've taught.
It's just respect.
Right. But not everybody uses that to and deal with the teacher. They might stick up more for their child because my kid can't do anything wrong, and so it's a fine line. Yeah, trying to figure out.
And I'm not saying she's right 100% all
but
the
you
time.
give her the benefit.
But I give her the benefit
of the
teacher
and the respect.
as the teacher and respect.
Yeah.
Because I know how kids are, and I know when they're not with their parents, they can get out of hand. You know what I'm saying? They can go in the classroom and stand up and just start cussing and yelling for no reason, and nothing's mentally wrong with your child. They're just out there acting silly. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I know that, and I know that kids do that. So, it's hard being a teacher. I couldn't imagine.
Extremely.
I couldn't imagine.
And all you need is one kid in that classroom to set it off.
Yeah. Really?
And that kid is never absent.
Right.
Always.
Their
mama don't want them at home.
They going to school sick.
That kid is there every day.
Yeah, it's very true.
Every day. You ain't nobody sick.
Perfect attendance.
Y'all ain't got COVID, the flu.
You immune.
You here every day.
That is so funny.
Maybe they should start giving some classes on respect.
Well, do people even take parenting classes anymore? I feel like that's a long art.
I mean, my daughter told me I needed to take some parenting classes.
Really? They are beneficial. But
my daughter told me I needed to take a teenage parenting class.
I mean, you can see a therapist and they can teach you like parenting stuff and ideas like that.
Different approaches.
Yeah, I think the schools definitely offer.
No, but do people take them? I know they're still out there, but everybody just goes on YouTube or Instagram to find out the latest trend. It's not necessarily the appropriate response to every child.
And, I was thinking about that recently because I have challenges with my own children occasionally.
Like we all.
And that one kid that told me that I needed parenting classes. I think about when we're talking about generationally, what happens, and being old-fashioned and respect and all of this. The things that this generation says, I would never even think it because I thought my mom could read my mind. Like, I thought if I even thought something crazy, she was going to come out of somewhere and throw a shoe. Like, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And so because we are parenting differently, I feel like the kids have this sense of freedom to express themselves in a way that we wouldn't have dared. And I never thought to even say or express to my mom that her style of parenting wasn't working for me. And would she consider
Oh, so she was serious. It wasn't just in a moment of an argument. She was like, I think you should consider going.
Oh, it was in a moment. It was in a moment of her having a meltdown.
Right.
And I just said, do you think this is Lifetime Channel or Disney? Because clearly you watching too much TV. But what I'm finding and what I'm grappling with is I never thought, of course, to say anything crazy like that, but I feel like we got what we got.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no, this is how I would prefer that you parent me. You know,
yeah.
It was very much about, I need to adjust to who you are.
Yeah.
You know,
and there were no feelings.
And there was, there was no, you know, I need to adjust myself to who you are as a parent.
Yeah.
And so right now, dealing with a child who, for one, I know, am I saying what my parents did was perfect? No. Am I saying what I'm doing is perfect? No. But finding that balance of giving the children the opportunity to express themselves and to share with you what would work better for them, and we're not coming from a position of being an expert.
Mm-hmm. And so I think that's the issue. It's kind of our fault because we've given them the leeway to tell me how you feel, you know, and giving them the option to say, well, I don't like this and I don't like that. It's just too many feelings, I guess, coming from the kids, and I guess maybe the parents accepting that. I hear you. So what about, you know, doing it this way or doing it that way? Whereas before, like you said, we had to adjust to who our parents were, not the other way around.
And what is you know, what is right, and what is, it's making me, in the moment I'm pissed. In the moment I'm pissed when something like that is presented to me from a child.
Right.
In that moment I'm upset. Like, who the hell do you think you are? You better, this is who I am.
Right.
But what I realize is sometimes what our children are wanting is not who we are. That's not what we have to give. And that's something that I think about with my relationship with my mom, even my relationship with my dad. There were certain things that I wish my mom had done differently for me because that's what I needed. But that's not who she was.
Right.
And so there's nothing wrong with that. That's just not who she was. That wasn't her personality.
But wouldn't you be doing that more now than as a child, whereas the children are doing it now?
They're doing it now.
Right.
Right. And so for me, I think about some of the things that my daughter is wanting is not who I am. It's not who I am, and it's because I didn't get that either. Like, I didn't have that modeling of this nurturing, soft mom. And my mom didn't have that example, and her mom didn't have that example. I know that I'm doing things a lot differently. I'm certainly a lot more approachable. I'm a bit softer, but the ooey gooey, that's just not who I am.
Right.
And the same way as like being in a relationship with your partner, I want certain things from my husband. I've just accepted that's not who he is,
Right.
and it's not fair of me.
Yeah, you take them as they are.
Right, to put those things on them. But as a parent, with your child, that part is something that I've been dealing with lately, and I think what would be better for me is the way that it's presented. You know,
Right.
if it's
Her suggestions.
yes,
Or can she get some of those things from her dad? Because I feel like that's a balance that kids have in a two-parent household. Things that they don't get from mom, they get from dad.
yeah,
Vice versa.
yes,
Because I can't be everything to everybody, and that's where he picks up the pieces. Or he might even nudge me, or I might nudge him to fill in those, gaps.
right. Yes, certainly she can, but it's different.
Yeah.
You know, I know I have a very different relationship with my dad than I had with my mom, and that didn't help my relationship with my mom. You know what I mean? Like, I was able to get a whole lot from my dad in the way of nurturing that I was never able to get from my mom. And,
Right.
and that didn't, it helped me in the moment, just personally. Like, I
Right.
felt like I was being saved from
Yeah.
some of her stuff, but it didn't help. It didn't help my relationship with her. You know, it just made me feel like this is gonna be
It's
my
better
person.
over here. Yeah.
Yes, and so it's just something that I'm going through in the moment and trying to. I think another part, and you know, I can be long-winded, but I'm just working through this like now in the moment. I think another part for me of something that I'm dealing with in this relationship with this child is my expectations for what my idea about what my children were going to be, what my
you gotta
children
let go
were
of
going
some
to
of
do.
that. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and something that she says to me often. She says, "That's not the only way. That's not the only way." And again, in the moment, I'm not trying to hear it.
Yeah, but it's true.
But it is true.
Yeah.
But I still feel like certain things, I'm the expert. And if it has to do with you, I know better.
Right, but you're still the expert. But
Because
sometimes they need to come to that realization on their
Yeah.
own, and it's probably hard for you to
that's
watch
the part.
the
Yeah.
rocky part.
Yes.
Especially coming from a kid that just went straight, and then to go through the ups
She didn't
and
go
downs.
straight. She went rocky, but they've all had the rocky,
Yeah.
but it's just different.
Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah.
And so what I'm finding in me wanting to be in control, that I think it will be freeing for me and for her if I'm able to step back and allow the chips to fall where they may.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, this is part of me wanting to protect.
Yeah.
But I know that we can't.
That's probably the hardest
That's
part of
But
the
it's
parenting.
also a good age for you to let go and let the chips fall where they may, because
Yes.
she's 20.
No,
this is-
Oh, it's another
No,
one.
she's still in high school.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so that's the thing of, I feel like I'm protecting her and she doesn't understand that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's probably the hardest
That's
part of
the part
parenting.
of,
Yeah.
I'm protecting you from this disaster that I foresee.
Yeah.
And I know that we can't.
Right.
I know that we can't do that. And
Yeah.
so I feel like in this moment that I'm releasing that.
Yeah. And I'd say it again, that has to be the hardest part of parenting.
Yeah.
Forget the sleepless nights and the newborn and all
Right.
that. It's the mental load of watching your kids,
Mm-hmm.
you know, either make mistakes
it.
or figure out their own path and see
Mm-hmm.
where they get. And we have to allow them to do that because they are us, but they aren't us.
Right. And she'll tell me, it's not about you. And
Right.
I'm like, oh, hell yeah.
Right.
It
Yeah.
absolutely is.
Right.
It absolutely is about me.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you do
Yep.
is about me.
It's concerning.
Like, you came out of my cookie. Everything you do is about me.
Yeah, and then
You
back in
know?
the day, we used to, what was the saying? I brought you in this
Right.
world, I'll take you out. Now it's totally different.
Now you
It's
can't even
not-
say that.
Right, you just, I'll be here when you get,
Right.
when you get it together.
Right. And so that's kind of, that's absolutely where I am right now.
Yeah, so many parents.
Yes, I know that I need to allow her to go through, and it may not be a disaster.
Right, it just might be your head.
It may not be a disaster. It is going to be different, and it might be wonderful for her. But trying to sit back and see everything that you've kind of worked for to get them to where you want them to be.
Yeah, they might not want
And
that.
that's not what they want, or that's not what they think they want.
Yeah.
And being that parent who wants to be all in the mix.
Keep on
Is-
guiding.
What is that, Tiger Mom?
It's tough. Yeah, a bit. It's tough. It's a struggle.
Well, we're here with you.
And
And I know there are plenty of listeners that share in the same feeling of wanting to put all the pieces together for our kids. So
It's my woosah.
I guess on that, we'll just all take a woosah and tell everybody thank you for listening. If you have any comments, if you have any pet peeves, let us know. If you are trying to
If you
guide
say
you-
liked it or looked
Right.
it, please stop. You should know better.
We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Check us out on YouTube and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.